Alright, let's talk about the road handling and mechanical components of that new Nissan Titan. And everybody was surprised when Nissan announced that they made a partnership with Cummins for the engine in this one. And everybody that likes trucks, look at this one and can see the Cummins logo on the side and ask question, hey, how do you like that engine so far? Well, I'm quite surprised with the numbers. Cummins 5.2 liter V8 turbo diesel, DOHC 32 valves, and this engine is made out of compacted graphite iron, and you've got also a mix of aluminum alloy for the head. 310 horsepower at 3,200 RPM, 555 pound-feet of torque at 1,600 RPM. So as you can see, the numbers are really impressive when you look at that. Remember that it might not be one of the most powerful engines out there, but it's the Nissan Titan is really in a unique segment right now between the heavy hauler and the light-duty pickup truck. So you have to consider that when you check the number. So for the engine, 4,200 maximum red line. You've got a turbo also, and the turbo is really unique in its own way. It's a whole set M2 two-stage turbo. Fuel injection, well, it's common rail. You're gonna find a high pressure in this one. It's a compression ratio of 16.3 to 1. And as you can see, this is really high pressure, as we call it. When it comes to winter, remember that diesel engines are sometimes a little bit harder to start on that cold ice day. So Nissan put 2 batteries in that truck, so you will have 550 amps per battery. So you will have plenty of power to be sure that this truck really starts in any condition that you will face over time. It's rear-wheel drive. In the States, you've got the choice, but in Canada, it's 4-wheel drive only that you're going to be able to get. You have no choice, and the price will also reflect that difference. So for the 4x4, you've got a part-time 4-wheel drive that you can select. You just switch that little knob right here to 4-wheel drive, and if you want to move into a lower range, well, you've got to be in neutral. And as you can see, you can hear that beep, and you can confirm that the 4-wheel drive is engaged. Or if you want to move back to 2-wheel drive, that's going to be the same thing. For the transmission, well, you've got an amazing 6-speed transmission with a manual mode. So right there on the shifter is a button that you can switch. And if you accelerate, oh, it won't change for you. And if you press, it will take a little bit of time to change. So once again, keep your eye on your revolution per minute. You don't want to over rev that engine if you're carrying something. But I really like the possibility to have a manual selector depending on the situation that I'm gonna face. If there's a hill coming, let's take some speed, but also let's get ready to downgrade depending on the stepping hill in front of me. When it comes to fuel also, you have to use ultra low sulfur diesel fuel only in this one. The other engine choice that you can have with the Nissan Titan is the 5.6 liter Endurance V8, and it's going to change the logo on the side, by the way. It's the VK56 VD of Nissan. Aluminum alloy, DOHC 32 valves also on this one, direct injection, and numbers are good. 390 horsepower at 5,800 RPM, and torque is going to be good for 401 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM. Engine mount in the gas version of the Nissan Titan, you will have different engine mount. You will have a mix of solid and also an electronically controlled liquid filled heavy duty specially tuned for the 7-speed automatic transmission that you're gonna find in the gas version. 2 complete different trucks depending on the engine that you're gonna choose. When it comes to the Nissan Titan, you want to work with that truck you want to tow. So the towing capacity of the exact truck that we have right now is 12,037 pounds. So it's not as high as the heavy hauler, and it's a little bit higher than those light duty pickup trucks. So Nissan is targeting really in the middle segment. Will it work? That's what we're gonna see. But hey guys, how many of you have big haulers and don't tow as often as they should? And usually these heavy haulers are really not comfortable on the road where they're not loaded. On the other side, light duty pickup truck, you've got tons of them, and sometimes 90% of the time, nobody's towing nothing with that. There's not even an ATV in the cargo box. So once again, guys, if you own a light-duty pickup truck, how often do you tow? How often do you put something in the bed? Feel free to answer that in the comment section down below. The Nissan Titan, well, that's less output than the EV diesel from Chevy, Ford, Ram, but considerably more than Ram 1500 diesel V6 at 240 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque. By the numbers, the Ram 1500 diesel torque capacity tops out at 8,870 pounds in the crew cab form, while the typical 2500 series that you're gonna find in the HD series can tow between 14,000 to 17,000 pounds. There's a lot of room between that where Nissan's gonna get probably a lot of barriers, but that's gonna get to be seen. Also, for the maximum towing capacity, there's a few pounds changing depending on the version that you're gonna choose, either 4x4 or 2x4. So let's talk about the road handling. Well, first, acceleration are gonna be special. Well, when you're gonna go from zero, you will feel it going, but when you will get to passing maneuvers, it doesn't respond that much. It takes time, and I would have liked to have something a little bit more lively. Also, you want a solid truck when it comes to road handling. If you're driving around without nothing in the box and without nothing in the rear, exactly what's happening right now, well, you don't want it to be harsh. You want a good mix between work and comfort, and Nissan has really achieved that. And also, the truck is built on a unique frame and chassis to handle the Cummins diesel and endurance V8. The chassis has been built around this engine. They're fully boxed, also full-length ladder frame, extremely reinforced and strengthened. So this is a working machine. When you tow, you want also to be able to stop. So when you tow, you put it into tow mode, and you will feel the reaction of the truck being really different. When you're gonna get down those hills, you will feel that engine braking, which is gonna be a little bit more omnipresent down those hills. But you want also to brake, to use those brakes, and the brakes are strong. When you look at them, you can see that they are big. At front, 14.17 inches. It's big, but it's really large. So you've got 1.5 inches in the front when you look at the brake. So it's kind of heavy duty brake. I love that size. When you look in the rear, a little bit different, a little bit bigger, but less large. So you've got a 14.37 by 1.2 inches. So once again, it's not that bad. Those are big brakes. Nissan wanted to put a lot of power, and you've got also a high brake fluid pressure generated by an electric pump that will make the brake pedal more confident, and it will brake with force if you apply a lot. But in the test that we did, we just came out of an off-road test, and it doesn't have a mechanical locker in the rear. So what's happening when it needs to maximize traction, it will apply brake to wherever it's needed, and this is generating heat. So when we went for our brake testing, well, it can suffer also from brake heat. So everybody who's working on the truck know how to manage their brake, and I hope you apply also those good manners if you want to be able to stop whenever you want with any load that you want. Direction is a little bit heavy. When you're gonna drive around or even at slow speed, you're gonna feel that little bit of heaviness, but when you're rolling, it becomes really just like a car, but it has that little bit of hard feeling, just what you like when you're towing something big. You need to get that feeling. You need to feel that this is resistant, and that's happening right now with the Nissan Titan. So it's also variable depending on the engine speed, and when you want to go into a parking maneuvers, to go from one side to another is 4.6 turn. So you will make a lot of turn until you reach that maximum angle of the wheels. Suspension is not too hard, not too soft, a good in middle between balance. When you go with the heavy hauler, those are harsh, unloaded, that's incredible. You go onto a pavement which is full of bump, and you're gonna feel them. So right now I've got a mix of new and old asphalt, so some marking also on the tarmac, and you don't feel nothing. You feel more the transmission shifting than anything else on the road. But when it's gonna get harsh, you will get that little truck movement feeling that you usually do also with every other pickup truck right there on the market. But once again, a good balance. The diesel engine sound is, well, the last time that I drove a diesel engine, a Cummins engine, was back in the old days with that old Ram, and that was so noisy. And right now, for myself, I think it's a little bit noisy. A lot of people out there said to me, wow, that's not noisy at all, but you should see other work truck. These are worse than this one, but I will let you be the judge of that. But for me, for a platinum version, when I'm riding, I can hear all the way that engine sound, and that's a little bit high for me, but that's usual with a diesel engine. When you need maximum traction, well, they didn't put any mechanical locker in the rear of this one, but on this version, even if it's fully equipped, I would have put it there. But if you want one, if you go for the Pro 4X version, you've got a rear differential which is going to lock itself for maximum traction if you're in the mud or other. You've got also different shocks, Bilstein shocks. You've got also some underplating where it's going to be completely protected for transfer case and any vital components of your truck if you go into somewhere where it's off-road, where you've got rocks or you just don't want to hit anything and break your day. When we look at the size also, if you look at the rear differentials, 9.84 inches, and you've got also axle tube 3.5 inches. If you go with the 4x4 version, if you look up front, it's going to be 9.25 inches, and both are manufactured by a company that it's called American Axle. The truck's also designed to be fun to drive. I would say more comfortable than fun, because when you get into passing maneuver, 2-speed change, not too fast, huh? But hey, that's a working truck, not a performance truck. Feels a little bit heavy also. When you're going to be riding on the highway, you get that little movement of the suspension. And when you look at the number, a 4x4 diesel like this one is going to weigh 7,479 pounds. And if you look at that famous combined weight where the government's going to decide if you've got a nail-plated truck or a heavy plated truck, as they call it, it's depending on the region. And right now we've got a white plate from Ontario. In Quebec, they've got the L in front, and you pay more taxes, you pay higher fee, and you need to stop also at those weight stations. Even if you're not loaded, that's supposed to be the legislation, but I'm illegal all week and never stop this week. I don't know if I should. I don't have anything in the truck. Are you stopping at weight station if you got a nail-plated truck or a heavy load-plated truck? Even if you're empty, feel free to share your experience with us, guys. I would like to know. So for the weight, the famous GVWR, 8,950 pounds for this one. Fuel consumption, once again, working truck fuel consumption, usually the manufacturer don't even announce them. When they're in a certain segment of pickup truck class, there are no obligation for them to write the average fuel consumption. So if I look on the numbers, remember that we don't have a V6, we've got a V8, and remember that we're right there in the middle of that segment. So yes, it's going to consume more fuel than those 1,500. So it's a 98 liter fuel tank that we're going to find. And by the way, in the competition, there's much larger fuel tanks. So right now it's a little bit smaller if you want to work and do long distance without being stopped every time at a gas station. Also remember that you need to use some diesel fluid for it to work. You've got the display also inside here. So the tank is rather small, 8.5 liters. And talking about exhaust system, by the way, to make the truck less polluting, if you go for a gas version, you've got not one catalytic converter, not two, not three, but 4. Wow, be careful about the price of the replacement of that exhaust line. If you hit it, it's gonna cost a lot of money. Security, you've got a tons of security feature inside this one, since we've got the most equipped version possible out there. You've got vehicle dynamic control, traction control, those are pretty standard everywhere. 360-degree view camera, that's perfect for your trailer, but it will need a little bit more clearer definition. You know, when you pay that much for a truck, I want more, and this could be really improved as long as with the multimedia system. You've got also a hill start assist, so that's perfect, your load won't go down. So if you're in a hill where you got some wet grass or even off-road, you've got a heavy load, you don't want to lose traction, well, it's really gonna help you to go down. You've got also electronic brake force distribution. You've got trailer brake control that you can adjust and select the type of brake that you have, put more gain or remove some gain. Tire pressure monitor system. You've got trailer sway control also. This is awesome for security. This is one of my biggest fear that I could have with a truck, that my trailer start to sway. I don't want that. Also, another thing is blind spot monitoring with that truck, rear cross traffic alert, which is really cool with those big trucks when you cannot see every little places around that truck. This is perfect to detect oncoming vehicles. Also, I like in the mirror the possibility to cover the blind spot with the deformation that I can see down there, that little section. Really cool.